Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Beltway Book Club. I am your host, Ellen Menny, and I'm so excited to welcome my guest today. Chances are you have seen her somewhere, and now I'm so excited to welcome her to the show. That would be Dr. Rachel Goldman. She is the author of When Life Happens and my latest guest on the Beltway Book Club. Thank you so much for joining me.
Of course. Thank you so much for having me today.
Absolutely. Well, as I mentioned before, you've been on many TV shows. You've been on Oprah many times. You've worked with Mel Robbins on her podcast, and so very excited to have you on the show. But I want to talk about your book, When Life Happens. What's in store when people open it up?
Yeah, so it's titled What It Is for a reason.
Yeah.
Because life is happening, right? Nobody is immune to stress. Nobody is immune to, the life from happening and the things just kind of coming out of nowhere. So what the book is, it's really taking cognitive behavior therapy, which is the type of therapy that I do, and breaking it down in the most accessible, practical way to really teach people the tools in order to move forward. And if that's from feeling stuck in life where they are, feeling stuck in their mind and their thoughts, or just kind of like, what do I do now, right? So it's really to help them navigate those moments when life is happening, to feel a little less overwhelmed, a little less stressed, and to feel more confident.
I love that. And I'm familiar with cognitive behavioral therapy, CBT, but for those who don't know about it, can you give a bit of a crash course in what that is?
Yeah, the simplest way to explain it is really this idea that our thoughts, emotions, and behaviors are all linked. And if we think about it that way, from a psychological standpoint, there's two places that we can intervene then. We can intervene in the thoughts, or we can intervene with the behaviors. So throughout the book, I talk about the power of our thoughts and how we can challenge our thoughts that may not be working for us and then reframe them. And I also talk about working in the behavior aspect and the behavior activation, kind of like how Nike says, just do it, like kind of take that action first, which is actually a myth that a lot of people have, is that like you have to be motivated and like, have all these things in line in order to take action, but sometimes it's just a matter of just doing it. So CBT is really breaking that down to the most simplest and looking at how our thoughts are impacting our emotions and our behaviors.
Nike was right, it turns out. Sometimes you got to just
right?
do it.
It's so true. I actually did a little bit of research on that slogan for the book because I keep going back to it. Like in all my client sessions, I'm like, just do it, just do it. And I'm like, but I'm not like, working for Nike or anything. But so I was just curious kind of like where that slogan came from. And it's literally behavior activation in disguise, I think.
So cool.
Yeah.
And so can you talk a little bit about your background and what, who you are and what led to you writing this book?
Yeah, so I'm a clinical psychologist out of New York City. I'm also a clinical assistant professor in the Department of Psychiatry at the NYU Grossman School of Medicine. And I like to add that I'm a mom also.
Yeah.
I have 2 young children in New York City. And it's funny because so much led me to write this book. And funny enough, I recently found an assignment that I did in graduate school about like a business proposal of where I think I would be in like 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I know, it's so funny.
I love it.
And I looked back and I actually had written that in about 10 years, which is not exactly where I am now, like probably 15 years, but still, that I was going to write a book.
Oh.
And I always had in the back of my head, maybe I would write a book, but I actually never realized that I wrote it out until I found that. I totally forgot. But I feel like in grad school, for doing the work that I do, it's always like, yeah, I want to go into research. Yeah, I want to write a book. So it's always been in the back of my head. But I worked at a hospital in New York City for about 5.5 years. And in that time, I saw thousands of patients. I worked in a bariatric surgery weight management department. And literally, I think over 5,000 patients walked through my door during that time. And I remember I started realizing and seeing patterns. And I kind of was like Rolodexing them, so to say.
Right. Keeping them in your head.
Right,
Yeah.
like they were in my head, and then they would keep popping up. And then I would start my private practice, and the same kind of patterns I noticed. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, if so many people in my office are experiencing this and sharing this, why not write a book about it? Like, why not make it more accessible? Because the tips and recommendations I was giving, I felt like wasn't brain science, like I felt like it's something that should be more accessible. So I really wrote the book to make cognitive behavioral therapy more accessible and to help the average person kind of just, like I said, feel more confident, change their thoughts to work for them.
And I think that's a great thing because not everyone knows about cognitive behavioral therapy. I only know about it because I've been through cognitive behavioral therapy.
Which I love.
Yeah, I love it too. Definitely helped. But I think it's a great way to make it accessible. What do you hope generally people get out of the book?
Yeah, so it's actually a few things I've already been hearing from readers, which is amazing. It's what I did hope that people get out of it, and I hope they continue, is that people feel seen and feel heard. A lot of people, read it and are like, oh my gosh, like you're in my head. And I think that's because of my years of clinical experience. But I hope that they feel seen, feel heard, understand that there's nothing wrong with them. I think a lot of people think I must be broken, I'm a failure, something's wrong with me for thinking this way or for feeling stuck and not being able to move forward. And then, of course, to have the tools to be able to move forward and to be able to come back to the book time again and, time again later. There's so many aspects of the book that I know we'll get into that I always say to people, like, skip a chapter if it's not relevant to you today. It might resonate in a month from now or maybe years from now as you're going through different phases of your life. So I really hope it's a book that is a tool that you can come back to during those times.
I love that. And I think it's great that you mentioned that because a lot of people will take a book and read it front to back. But I think there's beauty in allowing people to say, skip around, When I look through the book, I have a copy right here. I see retraining your brain. I see stress. I see body image, which I'm sure you are very familiar with working in the hospital. So it's a wonderful way to tackle so many issues.
Thank you.
In life. Absolutely. Well, we have to go to break, but when we come back, we'll dive more into the book. So everybody stay tuned. We will be right back with more Beltway Book Club after this quick break. Welcome back, everyone, to the Beltway Book Club. I am your host, as usual, Ellen Meny, joined by my guest today, Dr. Rachel Goldman. She's the author of When Life Happens. And I feel like it's that moment. It's like when life happens. I think it's a great title, and I wanted to delve more into the book. So do you have a favorite chapter or a chapter that you just kind of got into your heart?
Yeah, it's actually a difficult question.
Yeah.
Because so many of the chapters and so many aspects of the book I really think are like so important. But from what I'm hearing from people, and it's funny because it wasn't an afterthought, but the body image chapter was not in my initial outline when I initially thought about writing this book. My thought was like, I'm either going to write a body image book or I'm going to write this like CBT stress preventing toolbox book. So I didn't initially think that they were going to be together. And then as I was writing, it made sense. Like I got through the thought chapters and I was like, oh my gosh, we're talking about how you're interpreting situations and what you're thinking and your self-talk. How are we not going to talk about body image and how you see yourself? So I really particularly love that chapter because, like I said, it was not an add-on because I wrote it earlier than it was like done.
Yeah.
And it resonates for so many people. And I don't think I know anybody that has never had like a body image struggle, right?
100%.
Like waking up with like icky body image or like not such a great body image day. So I think it's just a really good chapter for people, especially in today's day and age.
Yes.
Like to kind of look at how we're seeing ourselves and through a kinder lens. And there's some really awesome, I think, exercises in that book. In that chapter.
Yeah.
I'm actually doing a workshop later this month, like specifically with that chapter. But yeah, I would say that one definitely stands out. And it's one that I tell people, like if you have the book and if you're struggling with body image, jump to that chapter.
Right.
Like work on that first, and then you can go back and work on the other stuff. Some of it I might like refer to the thoughts chapter in it, but I think it's so valuable, just that chapter even.
Absolutely. And, as you mentioned, this book is a lot about preventing burnout, preventing stress. CBT is all about kind of, as you said, reframing. I wanted to ask, what if somebody has gotten past that point? What if they pick up the book, they're like, I'm trying to get back to the place where I can use cognitive behavioral therapy to prevent burnout from happening again? Any advice for folks who are kind of over the edge?
Yeah. So I like to remind people that it's never too late.
Yeah.
Right. So like in a perfect world, would I love people to pick up this book as a preventative, right? Like, oh, I want to prevent burnout. I want to prevent those really tough days.
Yeah.
Sure. But unfortunately, we all have those tough days. And I think a lot of people are kind of on the verge of burnout or there already. So it's never too late. And something that I start with this book, like it's the first chapter actually, it's titled Start Where You Are.
Oh, love it.
Because I need to, like, we have to be realistic, right? Like wherever you are right now we have to accept that, acknowledge it, and start there. We can't be starting from a place that like we think we should have, could have, would have been at or where we should be. We have to start where we are right now. So I actually think for somebody who's like really in burnout right now, actually starting with the first chapter and starting where you are is a really great place to take that first step and be like, oh, okay, I'm here. Let me acknowledge that. And the power of and now what can I do about it? And that's kind of the rest of the book.
Absolutely. I don't think anyone's starting from a perfect place.
Right.
And maybe people people think they need to, which is impossible. Nobody's perfect. And I think that's a great way to get people into the book and allow people to ease in. You obviously live a busy life. This is your first book, which is super exciting. How did you write the book? In the sense of how did the book fit into your life?
Yeah, it's actually a question that I love because when I agreed to write this book, when I signed my book deal, I remembered having the discussion with my family and telling them, it wasn't really a conversation, so to say, it was more me telling them that I am not going to let this book come in the way of nights and weekends.
Okay.
And I like said it out loud and made like a pact to myself, like it was like a boundary I was setting with myself that I wasn't going to do that. Now, don't get me wrong. When it came to book launch time and traveling, that had to get in the way of nights and weekends.
Yeah.
But for the writing process, so what I ended up doing was, and and it's a lot of, I talk about this in the book about creating time.
Yeah.
Like none of us have time for anything.
True.
Right?
Yeah.
We have to create it. So what I did was I actually wrote this book in the in-between moments.
Okay.
So in between clients, in between meetings, in between nap time, in between whatever it was, in between drop off and pick up, like literally it was in the in-between moments. And I would look at my schedule and be like, okay, I have 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Like, that's 20 minutes that I can do something with the book.
Right.
Maybe I'll write a sentence, but
It's still words.
Exactly. And that, again, it goes back to a lot of what I write about in the book. And I literally used the tools in the book, every single tool, to help me get through that time, because in the book, it's a lot of having a flexible mindset.
Right.
And being like, something's better than nothing. So I'm like, okay, if I have 20 minutes, even if I write a sentence, even if I review a paragraph and make one change, it is working on it. So I had to really pull the tools that I talk about all the time. And then I literally just wrote in the in-between moments. I remember being in between meetings and coming out and like filling my water and saying to my husband, like, I only have 5 minutes. I got to go back and
I got to go right.
Right. Yeah. Like literally that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
But I didn't want my kids to grow up and later be like, well, mommy was writing a lot,
Yeah.
They and they love it. They love the book. It's so cute. They see it in stores and they scream, Mama book, or the littlest one screams that. And my son just loves to go to the stores and like find the book with me and gets so excited. So it's been a fun experience, I think, for the family, because I didn't let it like consume, at least the writing. Like I said, it didn't let that consume our lives. We talked about it a lot, and it was definitely a topic of conversation many times throughout this process, and still is. But I wanted to be as present as I could and not let it interfere with their life, so to say.
And I commend you for navigating that, because
it's not easy.
It's not easy. It is not easy. I feel like it's a tightrope walk, but you succeeded. And now let me show the book. We have a wonderful book on the show right now. We have to go to break, but when we come back, I want to talk more and see what you are up to in the future. So everybody stay tuned. We will be right back with more Beltway Book Club after this quick break. Thanks. Welcome back to the Beltway Book Club, everyone. I'm your host, Ellen Meny, joined by my guest today, Dr. Rachel Goldman. She is the author of When Life Happens, and I've been having so much fun chatting with you. And I wanted to ask a question that relates to something we talked about earlier, in that this book is all about cognitive behavioral therapy and kind of reframing your mindset. And earlier, you talked about how years and years ago, you wrote down that you were going to write a book, which I feel like is a little bit of manifestation, maybe.
Yeah.
How does it feel to have the book out, knowing that this has been percolating in your mind for?
So I have tears in my eyes
when
you just said that, because it's still like a major pinch me moment.
Yeah.
You know, like when I hear other people say that, like I can sit here and talk to you about the book with no
Right.
problem. But when you're like, you wrote a book, I'm like, wait, what? I wrote a book.
What?
Like,
Me?
it's like it's a big milestone. It's a big achievement for sure. And I think until I saw, like I knew that, but when I saw that on paper, I was like, oh, like I actually wanted to write a book.
Yeah.
Because I know I really wanted to more recently. And I always say it needs to be the right time for you.
Yeah.
Because I had some opportunities years ago, especially during the pandemic. I think a lot of people in my field were writing books.
Yes.
And I had a lot of opportunities, and it wasn't the right time for me. So when it became the right time, I guess I forgot that I wrote that. And I was just like, I really want to make my messages more accessible, and this is a great way to do it. And then when I saw that paper, or even I actually am a runner, and I ran a half marathon 2 weeks before the book came out.
Wow.
And it was during that run, I remember being like, oh my God, I wrote a book.
Like all those endorphins and emotions going through you as you run.
Well, I'm like running in Times Square. It was like the New York City half marathon.
Oh
I'm
my
like
gosh.
crossing the Brooklyn Bridge, running down Times Square. And I'm like, and I wrote a book. Like I still get very emotional about it.
I'm getting emotional just that image in my mind.
Right? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's a pretty incredible feeling. And I want to remind people that are listening, you don't have to write a book to get that feeling
you
either.
don't. Yeah.
Right? So, I mean, I know there's so much comparison out there. And, you know, it worked for me. It was the right thing for me. Some friends ask me, like, should they write books? And my response is, do you want to write a book?
That's the thing. Do you want to?
Right. So it's something that I wanted to do clearly years ago, but it wasn't the right time.
Yeah.
And then it was. So it worked for me. But there's so many things people are doing that are just as incredible and amazing without writing a book.
Absolutely. A beautiful thing to share with people. I wanted to ask, what is next for you? Like, is there another book?
Such a great question. And it's funny because I had a post that went viral when Simone Biles won the Olympics a few years ago. And I have this in the book, actually, about people asking what's next.
And I will say, I hate asking the question.
But it's a good one, though.
But I'm curious.
Yeah, but it's funny because in the book, I talk about that.
Yeah.
And actually my response is, I don't know.
That's okay.
Right now, I'm enjoying this moment, these times. And there's always, again, I had 2 book ideas in my head.
Right.
So there is another book idea that's in there. I don't know, to be perfectly honest.
That's
I
fair.
don't know if I want to do it.
Right.
There's that, desire that has to be there. And today, it's not there.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it would never be there. So it's an I don't know. I'm enjoying this time. The book is still very new.
It is.
I'm loving, traveling and speaking about it and sharing my messages. And for now, I want to do a lot of the same, which I think, because I talk about goals a lot, I think people forget that our goals can also be to maintain doing exactly what we're doing. And for right now, that's my goal. What's next is I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. And then we'll see if I get that urge or that feeling to really want to write the next one or not.
That is a really healthy mindset. And I feel like here's a segue. This book is going to help people get in a similarly healthy mindset. I cannot wait. I have read part of it. I cannot wait to finish it. If people want to buy the book or find out more about you, how can they do that?
Yeah, thank you. So the book is available in most bookstores and online. You can find all of those links at whenlifehappensbook.com. And then you can find me on most social media platforms as Dr. Rachel NYC.
Fantastic. My last question that I like to wrap up with is a question for anyone who is thinking about writing a book or wants to, do you have any advice for writers?
Such a good question.
It's a tough one, I know.
Yeah. It's really a tough one.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I'm thinking because I think for me, my book process and my book is a little different.
Okay, yeah.
Because it's been in my brain for years.
Percolating.
It's
yes.
all the clinical experience I've done. So it was actually easy-ish to write it.
Yeah.
But what I will say is give yourself the space because it's, if you have and we all have pressure, right? There's deadlines, without a doubt. As my deadlines were getting closer, I was feeling stressed. I'm not going to lie. But you have to give yourself the space to be creative and to write. And I do have advice, actually.
Yes.
There's something called good enough. And I talk about it in the book also. Yes. And especially your first draft, just make it good enough. Just get it out there. Unload your brain in a way that is just good enough and be okay with it, because there's going to be so many edits, and I think people can just take so much time obsessing over, or the perfectionism in them, when you just have to get the ideas out. So I think just kind of rely on that and also trust yourself that what you're writing, just get it out there and you can tweak it later.
I love that. That is fantastic advice for the writers in the audience. Well, Dr. Rachel, thank you so much. It's been fantastic talking with you. And everybody, one more time, the book When Life Happens is now out in bookstores and online. Be sure to buy it. Thank you again.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. And everyone, thank you so much for watching the Beltway Book Club. So great to share this book with you all. And I will see everyone next time. Have a great one.